Story recapped here. Today I'm going to explain an action, fantasy, and horror film called The Covenant. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. No one knows how the power came to be, and its beginning is not even in the Book of Damnation. However, those who master the power have always been hunted. In the middle of the 17th century, many came to America to escape the witch hunting in England and France. Those with the power continued to be persecuted. So the families of Ipswich formed a covenant of silence that has kept them safe for 300 years. The Sons of Ipswich, Tyler Sims, Caleb Danvers, Pogue Perry, and Reid are descendants of colonial witch families. One evening, the four casually jump off a cliff and attend a bonfire party. A pretty girl, Sarah, is already there, asking her friend Kate to give her the scoop. Kate warns her to stay away from Aaron, saying he's rude, and they also notice the new guy, Chase Collins. As if on cue, Aaron spots Sarah and asks his girlfriend Kira about her, learning she transferred from a public school in Boston. Kate announces that the Sons of Ipswich have arrived, so she hugs her boyfriend, Pogue, and introduces Sarah to the four guys. Kira then interrupts them and asks Caleb about his summer, also introducing herself to Sarah. Kira asks Sarah how she got into their school, Spencer, but Caleb tells her to give it a rest. At the same time, Aaron joins them to defend Kira. Aaron wants Caleb to apologize to Kira, but Caleb points out that Kira should say sorry to Sarah. Pissed, Aaron pushes Caleb, only to be stopped by Chase. Then, Reid uses his power to make Aaron's friend throw up. Before Aaron can do anything else, a student informs everyone that 3 cop cars are headed their way, forcing them to leave quickly. In the woods, Chase asks for a ride, so Kate replies he can come with her and Sarah. Chase also introduces himself to Caleb before getting in the vehicle with the girls, but Sarah's car won't start. Reid immediately offers to fix the engine for Sarah, much to Caleb's annoyance. Of course, that's because he knows his friend will use his power, and sure enough, Reid only looks at the engine to make it work. Once he closes the hood, Reid asks Sarah to restart the engine. Sarah thanks Reid for what he did, and everyone soon leaves. Reid decides to drive Tyler's car, speeding away to escape the cops, but it isn't long before they reach a cliff, where the Sons use their powers to make the car fly before landing on the ground again. The cops can't believe what they just witnessed, staring at the 4 boys as they drive off. Meanwhile, Kate, Sarah, and Chase finally reach their dormitories, where Chase removes a spider from Kate's shoulder. Caleb gets home too, and greets his mother Evelyn, who thinks about his 18th birthday. Evelyn also talks about Caleb's father, saying she's afraid she'll lose her son like she lost her husband. Caleb insists he's different from his father, but Evelyn thinks otherwise. Worried, Evelyn says the powers that Caleb and his friends developed when they were 13 are nothing compared with what they'll get when they ascend. She adds that they're 1,000 times stronger. They'll suddenly think the world is theirs for the taking. Evelyn is scared that Caleb will keep using his power and age rapidly, not believing her son when he says he won't. In the dormitory, Sarah asks Kate why Caleb and his friends are called the Sons of Ipswich. Kate replies they're supposedly descendants of 5 families that settled the Ipswich colony in the 1600s, also pointing out to Sarah that Caleb and Reid were checking her out. Kate says Sarah should go for Caleb because he's a good guy, revealing that after his father died, he chose to stay at home and take care of his mother. Curious, Sarah asks who the 5th descendant is, but Kate shares that the 5th family was killed off during the Salem witch hunt. Back in the woods, the cops find a dead student in a car. In the showers, Sarah covers herself with a towel and gets out of the stall when she hears a noise, finding a shattered light bulb on the floor. She examines the glass shards and doesn't notice the smoke figure behind her, getting scared when she sees her reflection in the mirror and eventually leaving. At home, Caleb suddenly wakes up, while at the same time, Sarah is startled by Reid in the hallway. Sarah explains she's a little freaked out because she thought someone was watching her in the showers, but they don't find anyone when Reid invites her to check it out. Reid then says goodbye, and Sarah quickly returns to her room. Upon seeing the newspaper the next day, Caleb talks to Pogue on the phone while driving and says he thinks Reid has something to do with the dead student in the woods. Caleb says he woke up last night and felt one of them use his power, but Pogue thinks it's only because he's close to ascending. Also, Pogue adds that Reid is just jealous that Caleb is ascending first, but their conversation gets interrupted when Caleb sees the dead student beside him. When the student disappears, Caleb collides with an oncoming truck, causing an explosion and leaving his car destroyed. However, Caleb uses his power and survives the accident, putting the car pieces back together in seconds and stopping on the side of the road to inform Pogue he just saw a darkling. Caleb tells his friend it was in the form of the dead student, leaving Pogue wondering who'd sent him a darkling. Later, Caleb picks up his medication and runs into Kate in the drugstore. Sarah and Chase are there too, but they all quickly part ways. Sarah comes with Caleb to run some errands, and as Caleb drives, he shows Sarah the old Putnam barn. He also tells Sarah that the whole place was the original Ipswich colony. Soon, they reach Caleb's family's first colony house. Caleb leaves Sarah in the car and goes inside, giving the medication to Gorman, the caretaker. As it turns out, the medication is for the person Gorman looks after, and Caleb tells the man he'll see him next week before leaving. Afterward, Pogue meets with his friends and girlfriend in a bar, unhappy to see Kate with Chase. He then orders some food and greets Reid and Tyler as they play billiards before playing foosball with Chase and Caleb. Meanwhile, Sarah puts a coin in the jukebox and plays a song, gently pulling Caleb to dance with her. As they try to have fun, Reid gets into an argument with Aaron. Caleb and Pogue immediately come to their friend's aid, and it isn't long before the boys take the fight outside. Aaron is pissed because Reid won a bet, but Caleb just wants them to forget about it. Luckily, the bar owner, Nikki, comes out with a bat and orders them to go somewhere else, forcing Aaron's group to go. Once they're gone, Caleb confronts Reid about using his power, only to be insulted and grabbed by his friend. Reid refuses to let go of Caleb's hand and continues to hurt him, so Caleb pushes him, sending him flying several feet away. Caleb wants Reid to understand that using their power too much is addictive, but the guy won't listen. The two continue to fight and use their powers to attack each other, and in the end, Pogue and Tyler have to stop them. Caleb is furious that Reid keeps using his power, thinking he'll expose them, but Reid argues he only used it to fix Sarah's car. When Reid and Tyler return inside, Caleb tells Pogue their friend is lying, believing it was Reid's power he felt last night. Later at home, Caleb receives a call from Pogue and learns he also saw the Darkling. Caleb is certain someone is using powers, telling Pogue he will find out who that person is. The following day, Caleb is called into the office of Provost Higgins, who asks him about the bar fight and whether Chase was there. Higgins shares that Chase has a brilliant academic record, making it clear he wants the new student to have a positive experience at Spencer. He also asks Caleb to take Chase under his wing and reminds him to avoid trouble. After that, in the boys' locker room, Chase gets into an argument with Aaron and gets punched. Caleb tries to defuse the tension, but Chase doesn't need help at all and easily subdues Aaron. Then, Chase invites Caleb and his friends to play foosball with him, but Pogue refuses. That night, Pogue tells Kate to stop hanging out with Chase. Kate thinks he's being unreasonable, but Pogue is sure Chase is interested in his girlfriend. Outside, Sarah arrives with Caleb, who asks her to come with him to the fall fest. Caleb reveals it's also his birthday, and when Sarah says yes, the two make out. Later in his room, Caleb sees the Darkling again. The next day, during swimming class, Caleb challenges Chase to a race. The two swim as fast as they can, and Caleb sees Chase's eyes change color in the middle of the whole thing. Unfortunately, that distracts him and causes him to hit his head on the tiles, passing out. Then, when he regains consciousness, Caleb learns from his friend that Chase got him out of the pool. Afterward, Chase is summoned to the provost's office. As it turns out, his ID was found in the car of the dead student, so Chase explains he lost it at the party. In the evening, Caleb and Pogue break into the admissions office. Caleb says he saw the Darkling again and wants to know more about Chase after witnessing the guy's eyes turn black in the pool. Concurrently, Sarah gets a note from Kate and learns she went to the infirmary, so she decides to visit her friend. In the admissions office, Caleb discovers that Chase's parents were killed in a car accident. Pogue also finds the guy's birth certificate, which shows his real name, Chase Goodwin Pope. The Collins adopted him after his mother died when he was 2 years old. And when Pogue says his birthday is July 14th, Caleb notices it's the same day his adoptive parents died. Suspicious, Caleb asks Pogue what year Chase was born. Pogue replies it's 1988, making Caleb realize that the Collins died on Chase's 18th birthday. Meanwhile, Sarah is informed by a doctor that Kate will be taken to the hospital at Gloucester. The doctor says Kate is showing symptoms of anaphylactic shock, a severe allergic reaction. The doctor doesn't know what Kate is allergic to, but he states it's like the girl's been bitten by hundreds of spiders. Later, the sons meet in Caleb's colony house. There, Pogue tells Reid and Tyler the truth about Chase, as Caleb gets the Book of Damnation. It contains a list of names who brought charges against John Putnam and his family during the Salem hunt, and Agnes Goodwin Pope was one of them. She claimed that John Putnam came to her as an incubus in her dreams after she was widowed. Agnes' husband, Jacob, died on June 4, 1692, and her son, Hagen, was born on April 11, 1693, which was 10 months and 24 days later. Realizing Hagen Pope is John Putnam's child, Tyler points out that the fifth bloodline in their covenant didn't end in Salem. Caleb says Chase is one of them, adding that he felt someone was using his power the night after the party. Caleb is now sure it's Chase, but their conversation gets interrupted when Sarah calls Caleb and informs him that Kate's been attacked. Sarah explains the situation, so Caleb instructs her to return to her room and wait for him. Then, when Pogue learns from Caleb that Chase put a spell on Kate, he immediately leaves. Enraged, Pogue rides his motorcycle to look for Chase, who finds him first. Chase is already waiting for Pogue on the road, telling him he can't save Kate. Without thinking, Pogue speeds toward Chase, but the guy uses his power to attack him. At that moment, Chase reveals that he only used Kate to get to Pogue, and Pogue will be his bait to get to Caleb. At the same time, Sarah returns to the dormitory and sees Caleb by the door. Caleb asks her if she's seen Pogue and sits on the bed, but Sarah says no. Then, Sarah opens the door when someone knocks, only to see Caleb standing there. Sarah gets confused, but before she can say anything, the guy sitting on the bed, who turns out to be Chase, casts a spell on her. Chase instructs Caleb to close the door as an unconscious Sarah appears on the bed with him. Chase also puts a spider on Sarah's body, telling Caleb he grew up not understanding his power. However, that changed when he found his real father, who told him everything about their family. Unfortunately, by that time, Chase was already addicted to using his power. Chase's father aged rapidly because he kept using his power, but in the end, he gave it to Chase. Then, as the two guys talk, the spider enters Sarah's ear. Chase wants to destroy the Covenant, and he also wants Caleb to go to the Putnam barn the next day when he ascends on his 18th birthday. He demands to have Caleb's power, saying that's the only way he'll let Sarah live. As if that isn't enough, Chase threatens to kill Caleb's friends and family too, admitting he had no problem getting rid of his adoptive parents. Caleb asks if Chase killed a student at the party, so Chase confesses he did because the guy caught him doing magic. Then, Chase makes Sarah's condition worse, leaving Caleb with no choice but to try to stop him. Sad to say, Caleb is no match for Chase, who easily drags him around the room before throwing him into the bathroom. Laughing, Chase says he loves to use his power so much, unaware that it could make him age. Caleb points out that adding his power to Chase's won't stop the aging, but the guy refuses to listen and reminds him to go to the barn the next day. Luckily, before he leaves, Chase takes pity on Sarah and removes the spider from her body. Moments later, when Sarah regains consciousness, Caleb informs her that Pogue's been in an accident. Caleb visits Pogue at the hospital, and Pogue tells him Chase is too powerful. Then, he orders Tyler and Reid to stay with their friend as he talks to Sarah downstairs, learning that Kate is still sick. Frustrated, Caleb asks Sarah to come with him and promises he'll explain everything. Caleb takes Sarah to his family's colony house, where he introduces her to his sick father, William Danvers III. He's only 44 years old, but he looks really old because he kept using his power. In the morning, Caleb explains to Sarah that in every generation, bloodlines produce only one, the eldest male. They get their powers at 13, and when they ascend at 18, their powers will mature. He also shares with Sarah that he'll ascend that evening, which means his power will become his life. It's the reason why they will age if they use it too much, and transferring one's power to another means death. That night, at home, Evelyn tries to stop Caleb from meeting Chase, only to be disappointed. Then, Caleb asks Reid and Tyler to take Sarah to the dance, and they eventually go out with the girl. Caleb says goodbye to Sarah as she leaves with Reid and Tyler, not knowing that Chase is also at the Fall Fest. As Caleb heads to the barn and talks to Reid on the phone, Sarah suddenly disappears. Caleb is also attacked by Chase on the road, making his car windows explode before disappearing. Wasting no time, Caleb runs to the barn, where Chase shows him an unconscious and floating Sarah. Chase threatens to kill Sarah if Caleb touches her, and it isn't long before the two young men face one another. Using their powers, Caleb and Chase attempt to defeat each other. Caleb refuses to be bested, but Chase soon overpowers and subdues him, pinning him against a pillar. At the party, Reid and Tyler search for Sarah and realize it's already Caleb's birthday. As Caleb begins to ascend, Chase forces him to give him his powers. However, Caleb has no intention of doing that and attacks Chase, who defends himself and knocks over a lamp. The two continue fighting, using farm tools to throw at each other. Unfortunately, Chase knocks Caleb down with his own power. Although he's hurt, Caleb tries to get up, only to be thrown out the window by Chase. Concurrently, Evelyn begs William to will Caleb his power, which costs him his life. At the barn, Chase follows Caleb outside, but Caleb attacks him again. The two duel once more, but this time, Caleb receives William's power and hits Chase with a final blow, sending him back to the barn as it explodes. Then, Caleb saves Sarah from the burning barn while Kate and Pogue regain consciousness, now free from Chase's magic. The next day, firefighters arrive at the barn. One of them informs Caleb and Sarah that they didn't find Chase's body, implying he survived. Caleb then uses his power to fix his windshield, holding Sarah's hand to assure her everything will be okay.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.